They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
My name is Brian Ferentz, and I'm the offense coordinator here at the University of Iowa. Today, what I want to talk about is our naked game. And I want to go through the philosophy of why we like to use the naked game, how we think it fits into what we're doing, how it affects the defense, and then get into just the specifics and the base fundamentals of what we're trying to accomplish anytime we call these plays. One thing I want to hit right before we start here, right? Any further questions, anybody wants to talk more about this, certainly have the utmost respect for anybody tuning in this era of Zoom and Clinic on Demand. But if you get through this tape, you see everything we do and you want to discuss it further, I'd encourage you to reach out by email to me. And I'd be happy to get back in contact with you at some point and talk more about some of these things we're doing. So that email address you see, easiest way to get a hold of me. Just let me know, kind of what you're interested in talking about, how you figured out how to contact me through this video, and I'll get back to you and talk a little bit more about what we do. As we get started, just talking about the naked game and how we see it, how we view it, I think it's important to understand a couple of things about us philosophically and what we're really trying to do offensively, right? So start from this vantage point. Everybody tuning in here, I don't know what level you're at. I don't know if you're coaching youth league football, junior high football, high school football, college football at any level up to pros, semi-pros, whatever. Understand this about the University of Iowa and what we're trying to do offensively. At the end of the day, first and foremost, we want to be able to run the football very, very effectively. That's how we're going to win and lose football games. Hopefully we win more than we lose. But everything for us starts with running the football. So obviously the naked game and those bootlegs that come off of running the football, critically important to what we're doing. Along those lines, our head coach, who I know is also speaking in this clinic environment here, one of his base tenets, one of his directives when it comes to building our offense and what we're trying to do is that at the end of the day, what we're trying to do as a program, be it big picture, weight room, offense, defense, special teams, we're trying to be a good high school program, right? And for us, when we say that, we mean it with the utmost sincerity and the utmost respect. In our mind, any good football should be simple, right? And if we couldn't get this taught to high school kids, if we couldn't get this communicated to high school guys where maybe we don't have the meeting time that we don't have the off season that we have, then we're probably not focusing on the right things. When you watch us play on Saturdays or Fridays now in the new world, okay, hopefully you take a look at us and you say, wow, that reminds me of a good high school program. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to out-talent or out-scheme anyone. We're trying to outwork people and out-fundamental them. That's what's important to us. So as we start talking about the naked game, understand what I said earlier, where everything for us is going to start with running the ball effectively. Okay, and in our offense, that starts with the outside zone, all right, what we call slant. All right, so the slant play and then the inside zone. At the end of the year, okay, right now we're going through our self-scout, you go through our breakdowns. What we're going to do the majority of the time in the run game is either inside zone or slant. That's going to be what we're doing, right? And then the third level of that for us is some kind of gap play, be it power, counter, right? In that world, those are the three runs, big picture schematically, that we're going to be spending the most of time on, right? So you're going to be looking at 400 reps of those run schemes and those concepts at the end of the year. One thing that we feel very strongly about with the naked game is it complements all three of them. And these are things that can allow us to affect the defense, perhaps in some ways that we're not. The other thing to understand is we talk about why, right? Why. The philosophy of this is understand that for the most part, we're an under center football team, right? We're not, we play putty in the gun. We run a lot of these runs in the gun. We run some nakeds out of the gun. All right, I don't love them as much. I'll get to that later, okay? But one of the things you got to understand is our run game is under center. It's not a +1 run game. Our quarterback is not really involved in the run game, right? So our way to option the defense or keep the defense honest from a numbers standpoint to affect that contained player on the backside, he's got to honor the naked game, right? He's got to honor the naked game, and he's got to honor the quarterback boot. So for us, why? Right, number one, it's our way to keep the defense honest, to affect numbers, right? And most importantly, a lot of people talk about option in the defense, right? This is our way to do that, okay? We want to option their ass. We want to make sure that they can't commit more defenders to the run game than we can block. We have to have the threat of that quarterback boot and the naked game to protect what we're doing, okay? Another thing, why, right? What are we trying to do? I already said we're trying to run the ball effectively. And what does that mean for us? It means advancing the football every time we hand it off. We want to make positive yards. An efficient run in our offense is half the line to make or a touchdown or first down, right? So, for example, if we're 1st and 10 and we rush for 4 yards, everybody says, oh, great, they got 4 yards on first down. We're looking at that saying that is an inefficient run. That's not what we're looking for. We want 5 yards on 1st and 10. But the flip side of that is it's 2nd and 1, we hand the ball off. Okay, we make 1 yard, and everybody says, oh, shit, that's a bad play. Okay, would you like more? Of course, but in our offense, that is the definition of efficiency. We made half the line to make. Okay, if it's 3rd and 2 and we rush for 3, efficient run. Right, 3rd and 2, okay, 3rd and 8, we rush for 7, inefficient run. Right, that's how we define inefficiency and efficiency in our run game. So when we're talking about the pass game, right, we say we want to throw the ball effectively. We want to run the ball, okay, run the ball effectively, throw the ball effectively. More than that, we want to throw the ball efficiently. Right, so what does that mean? Don't overthink that. Those are completions. Right? At the end of the day, of course, an efficient throw on 1st and 10 is going to get us 5 yards, is going to net us 5 yards. But you think about risk reward in the throw game, probably going to make a lot more yards throwing the ball from time to time. But one thing I know for sure, you can't advance it if you don't complete it, right? So we're looking for completions. We're looking for efficiency in the throw game, right? Completing the ball. Well, when you talk about the naked game, all right, it should be easy money, right? Easy money. We're talking about flat balls and over routes. We got the quarterback on the move. We shouldn't have to worry about protecting him. There's some exceptions to that, okay? And we should have nice, easy throws and completions, right? And then on top of it, if you really go back to point 1 and thinking about option in the defense, let's say our quarterback comes out of there. I'm going to show you a great clip later. Okay, quarterback comes out of there on the boot, and here he comes, and it's all covered up. Well, there shouldn't be anybody left to defend the quarterback running, and we don't have great athletes at quarterback. We're not, playing with Michael Vick or some of the guys that are out there now. But geez, I hope that it was you, me, whoever, okay, if everybody's covering the pass or chasing the run, we could tuck in and make 4 or 5 yards. I'll show you a great picture of us not doing that, kind of to illustrate that point, right? So this should be easy money, and we should be advancing the football, right? And then third, which I think you really need to take into account anytime you're going to start talking about how you want to play offensive football, right, is the opportunity for an explosive play. Okay, this is an interesting, and for us, I'll just be clear, we define that as any play of 20 yards or more. That's an explosive in our offense. And there's numbers and there's statistics across all of college football that would suggest anytime you have a play of 20 or more yards, your scoring chances increase exponentially on a drive. If you can have 2 plays of 20 more yards on a drive, you're probably going to score a touchdown. It's like 93% of the time. Okay, so we're always trying to create those explosive plays, those explosive opportunities. They exist within this play simply because you can out-leverage the defense in a hurry, right? So they exist within the base scheme of this play. But then also the nice thing about the naked game, right? Generally speaking, it's a short intermediate route. We're going to put that up here in a second, to what we're looking for. There's nice counters that come off of that if people want to try to defend it. Right? People want to try to take away our over route, our flat route. Okay, we have throwbacks, we have post balls, right? We have what we call a pipe or a pull, just kind of double moves. We have ways to take advantage of that. Wheeling a back out late. Okay, if they lose the back off the fake, you can wheel a tight end off the backside from the front side. There's all kinds of little tricks, okay, and dickum plays that you can put onto this to try to take shots at the defense. So philosophically, we talk about the why. Right? That's what we're looking at. Now, when we talk about the naked and the how, I think what we need to start with is the premise that, okay, a couple things we need to understand. One, this is a bootleg play. And all I mean by that is our quarterback is going to fake a run one way, right? So there's the fake side, right? And then there's the boot side, right? So the fake side is where we're faking the run. The boot side is away from the action after the quarterback comes off the fake, right? Now he's booting out, and we should have a route concept developing on that side. So that's all we're trying to do in the naked game. Understand it's a boot action. And what are we really trying to build at the end of the day? Okay, the run action is really irrelevant. I'm going to get into that more in a second as we start watching some of it. The run action is really irrelevant, okay, whether it's inside, slant, right, or some kind of gap scheme over here. That doesn't matter as much as what's going to develop down the field behind it. All right, so what I'm going to put up here is I'm just going to leave this action right here, and let's just say we're running it off a slant action, which is the first way we would do it. Okay, the first way we would run this play is off a slant action. That has to do with the timing of the quarterback when we want him getting there. All right, the next way we would run this is off of an inside zone action. Again, has to do with timing of the quarterback. We can get into that in a second. And then the third way we would run this is off of some gap scheme. Let's just say counter, for example. Okay, here's what we're looking for with the boot action, and you guys will see this as we get going. But I'm the quarterback in this picture. I got the tailback in the dot. For us, that's 7.5 yards directly behind me. His toes are at 7.5. I take the snap. Let's start with the slant. Okay, I receive the snap. Here's the football. Okay, the first thing I want to do is take the football. I want to put it in my left hand, put it on my hip. All right, and then I want to extend my right arm. I'm hiding the football from the defense. Now, if you watch us run the football, okay, the only difference would be our quarterback would actually have the ball in his give hand, and he'd have his hand right here on his belt buckle on his hip like he still had it, which is going to affect the defense when he boots out, right? Now, opposite, I'm going to fake it. So if we're running the slant, imagine a quarterback, okay, with the clock, okay, the belt buckle of the quarterback is facing 6 o'clock on the clock. His tail pad is facing 12 o'clock on the clock. I'm faking to my left. If we're running slant, I want to open to 2 o'clock on that clock. Okay, to 2 o'clock on that clock. I take the ball, I seat it on my hip, I've got the fake, I got my fake hand extended, and I'm taking 3 steps to the mesh point with the running back, and then I'm seating the imaginary ball, okay, right on his belly button, right in that pocket that he's creating for me. And then I'm driving off the fake and booting. The next way we would do it is off the inside zone. So now just tighten this thing up. Now I'm opening to 1 o'clock and driving back. I want to get the ball to the tailback as deep as I can. I want to create this mesh about 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. All right, now I'm faking it. All the mechanics are the same. 3 steps, seating that imaginary ball, and then coming off on my boot. All right, the third way we would do it is off of gap scheme. All right, so on gap scheme, especially on the counter play, right, we'd be reversing out, okay? And now all the mechanics are changed. We got the little counter action. Okay, here he comes, right? I'm still, okay, going to try to seat that ball right on my belt buckle now, okay, and I want to fake, and then I'm naturally in the boot coming off of, I never really have to turn my back to the boot side. Why do we use those three actions? Well, timing-wise, the gap scheme and the slant action, they marry up. They're going to take the same amount of time to the fake, right, and then we come out of them. They slow our quarterback down, okay? Whereas if we use this inside zone fake and I'm coming back to 1 o'clock, digging for 3, I get off the fake a lot faster. You'll see why that's important as we start talking about the route concepts. All right, so we're very specific in what we're asking to do. Forget the people in the play, forget the formation, forget any of that for a second. Understand this, if we're running a naked over here, okay, so here's our fake side. Learn how to spell. Okay, here's our boot side. Here are the non-negotiables on a naked. Absolute non-negotiables. All right? We're going to have a flat player, a flat component, and we're going to have an over component. These things are going to happen anytime we are running a naked. How we do it, we can change that up. We can have a lot of different ways to do this. Okay? But at the end of the day, a base naked in our offense, there will be a flat component, there will be an over component. Some coaching points here. This flat component is what we would call a slam flat, whether we're detached, right, or we're in the line of scrimmage in the formation. What he's doing, typically, whether he's a detached receiver or tight end, okay, fullback coming from the other side, he wants to sell the run called. Okay, so if we're blocking a slant play, he's blocking the backside like he would block a slant play. Right? And we're targeted. We're not worried about gaps. He's blocking the play, all right, for 2 to 3 steps, couple counts. We don't get real scientific with it. He's blocking the play called. Sell the run called, okay, and be late. Don't be early, all right? First thing you're going to have to battle, you want to go run this play, guys are going to want to get out too fast. Guys are going to want to come down there, oh, I'm getting the ball, I'm getting out. Better to be late than early, all right? And then when this route gets run, the coaching point on this route, width, okay, not depth. And we violate that rule from time to time. I prefer we don't, okay? Width, not depth. The most important thing he can do once he gets out is start running for that sideline. If he's a yard behind the line of scrimmage, it's not going to hurt the play, okay? But he's running for that sideline, width, not depth, all right? Sell the run called and be late. When we run this over route, what we're looking to do is build to a depth of 10 or 12 yards, okay? On the front side, it is a best release, okay? Best release, probably a preferred inside release simply because you have to get across the ball, and then it is speed. I don't care how you do it, all right? Man coverage, we may want to stair step that a little bit, as long as you get speed across the field, okay, because we're looking for a depth of 10 to 12, as fast as we can get over there, and ultimately, to me, the most important coaching point right here is, okay, get in phase. Some of you guys are option coaches. Talk about pitch phase, 5x5, a relationship to the actual option runner. No different here on this over route. How do we define getting in phase? Okay, very simply. He wants to be in front of the quarterback. So this quarterback, it's a race, okay, for him to get from where he is on the other side of the field to out in front at 10 to 12 yards of depth so this quarterback can make a natural throw. He doesn't have to throw it back across his body. Once our quarterback comes off this boot, he's got really two issues right here. Number one, okay, see your problem. Okay. What I mean by that is problems for this play. 9 techniques, edge rushers, upfield, contain guys that aren't playing the run, that are just playing your quarterback. Okay, well, when he comes off this fake and begins to boot, he better see his problem. Because if he's got a problem right now, he can forget about everything. What he needs to do is dump the ball to the flat. He needs to get the ball out of his hand. All right, number 2, if you don't have a problem, okay, attack the line of scrimmage. I'm not an expert on throwing the football, Frankly, I don't think anyone is. Just be clear about that. But I do know this, there's some violations of fundamental principles that will stop you from being successful throwing the ball on the run. And here's the one that I learned a long time ago from somebody a lot smarter than me. That quarterback starts drifting, doesn't gain ground back on the line of scrimmage, he's not attacking his target. It's very difficult to be accurate throwing the ball on the run. So he sees this problem. If he has a problem, now we got to get creative. We might have to dump the ball off. Okay, if there is no problem, then start attacking the line of scrimmage and read this play 1 to 2. This is a flat defender read, that's all it is. But what we're really doing is reading this contain player. Okay, whoever their backside force player is trying to contain this thing, typically it's going to be the flat defender. Okay, he takes the cheese, we out leverage him, ball goes to the flat right now. Okay, he covers the flat, we need to be looking right now to that over route. If they're both covered, okay, don't be afraid to run the football. I'm going to show you a clip of us being afraid to run the football. If everybody's covered, tuck it down and be efficient. Okay, give us what you can get, protect yourself, get down. We live to fight another day. But if they're all covering these guys, okay, they ain't covering you. Run the ball. As far as what we build around this play, okay, we need out here some kind of clear component. So if it's a detached receiver, we're going to ask him to mandatory outside release and clear this thing out. Okay, if it's a receiver who's closer to the formation, right, attached to the formation, nasty split, we're going to ask him to run what we call flag route. Okay, he's going to burst to 12 yards, forget steps, any of that on this play. 12 yards, and if he gets 15, it ain't the end of the world. And then he's going to set an angle for the back pylon wherever we are on the field. And he's going to run as fast as he can to that back pylon. He is practicing running, right? He has to love his teammates, and he has to love running because he is never getting the ball. But he needs to go because his whole job is to clean this picture up for these two guys. All right? On the back side of this thing, call what we have a sloppy post. It's really the same thing, okay? Attached, detached, doesn't matter. Push to 12 to 15 yards, set an angle for the near upright, okay, and practice running. You're not going to get the ball. We have ways to alert that guy. That's all way down the road. But right now, he is just practicing running. These guys have two jobs. Their job is to clean the field out laterally and vertically, right? They have to isolate the flat and the over. There are other ways to do this. We can alert routes outside of this. And I'll get to that on some of the tape, right? We can go ahead and we can run a throwback or something back here. Probably won't get to that on the tape. But for the most part, we're trying to build this picture right here at all times. This is what matters on a naked. All right, I'll give you one note before we get to the tape right here. Okay, if we want to throw something outside of this concept, a comeback, okay, a circus route, an outbreaking route, something out here. We want to throw something out here. We want to alert something, a sail route. Okay, if we want to do that, right, typically, not always, but typically, right, we may add a blocker in here and secure that edge. Load, we call it load the C gap. All right, now if we load, we can put a comeback out here, right, and we got a little bit different picture where if we do load it, that goes back to the very beginning where I talked about that inside zone action, right? Like say we have a comeback out here, right? We'll probably load that thing up because we want to get the quarterback rolling on the boot faster so that he can see this comeback that we're running 18 to 20 yards and have a chance to alert that and throw that pre-snap. Okay, I'll show you those pictures on tape. Those are a little different than our base mentality, right? But this is what we're trying to do on any naked. Now, the last thing before we go to the tape, the beauty of this play is that it should complement all of your runs, right? Meaning this, I already told you the three runs we're going to be running the most: inside zone, slant, gaps, counters usually, right? We've got counters, shouldn't say it that way. We have plays that complement those three schemes built into our offense with the naked game. So however we're running it that week, formationally, personnel-wise, we should be able to marry a naked, right? So the concept of this play never changes, right? But we can do it a lot of different ways. Right? We can do it a lot of different ways. 2 back, 1 back, 3 open, okay? 3 tight ends, right? 4 wide receivers, okay? Black, for us personnel, black, goal line. 3 tight ends, 2 running backs, right? We have naked game in all of those personnel groups, all those formations, but we're always trying to get back to this picture, right? To this picture right here. Only note, really, coverage note, cover 2 teams, nakeds aren't always the best. I'll tell you that right now. They're not bad, but they're not always the best. Otherwise, we love this. Man coverage, post safety zone, okay, quarters, like it against everything. Going to get to the tape here in a second and show you a little bit more of what we do. All right, so now getting into some of the video of what we're trying to do, just starting with, some of the most base and clean pictures, and then I'll kind of show you guys dressing it up a little bit. But just starting right here, right, and this thing's going to hold true against all formations, okay, but don't make this any harder than it is, right? Let's just say that right here, I'm just going to draw on the screen here, we're faking to that side. Okay, so if that was the fake side over here, and this was the boot side, then we already talked about somehow we got to build a flat component over here, okay, an over component, and then we're running a sloppy post on the back side, and we're clearing it out on the front side. All right, that's all we'd be trying to do. If we put the fake side over here, okay, and the boot side to the top of the screen, then somehow we got to build a flat component over here, okay, clear it out with someone else, right? Have an over route coming from this side and a post on the back side. We have mechanisms to change who's doing all that, but at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. So what you're going to see right here, okay, is we're running this thing up here to the top of the screen. So we do have the fake side here. We're faking that outside zone play, that slant play. Okay, so our quarterback's going to dig 3 steps to the exchange point. All right, in his mind, he's opening to 2 o'clock, just like I was before up on the board. All right, and then he's going to come off of this boot. He's going to see his problem and start attacking the line of scrimmage, reading 1 to 2. That's what should happen right here. Okay, up top, we're going to have one player. In this case, okay, it's going to be our wing tight end. He's going to clear this out. So he's going to be running this flag we talked about earlier because he's attached to the formation. All right, so he's going to dig for 12 yards, and then he's going to take it high to the pylon. He understands that he is practicing running. He is playing for the love of the game right here. He's a donkey. I've heard in the NFL they call this a bus ticket type route, meaning if you don't run and clear this out, you get a bus ticket home. All right, so he's playing because he loves football. All right, this guy on the backside is running that sloppy post, trying to clear things out vertically on the backside of this thing, all right, create a ceiling for it. And at the end of the day, he's doing the same thing the other guy was doing, playing because he loves football. Our over route is going to come from our receiver right here, okay? And our tight end up top is going to run the slam flat. So that's how we're building this concept. Okay, let's see how good of a coach I am. Actually, I've seen this before. I know I'm not that great of a coach because we're about to screw this up and not make the play. But it's a good picture of what we're trying to do, okay, conceptually. So I think this is a pretty good job by our tight end. He seems late, and he is late, okay? And in a perfect world, we got him out there just a hair sooner because I'd love for him to be in front of this quarterback. But this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right? Better late than early, because even though he's late, he's still sucking that contained flat defender up there, and we have the opportunity for a big play on the over route behind him. Hell of a job, okay, by this guy right here cleaning this thing out. Would love for him to stay even a little bit higher and practice never getting the ball, okay? And the guy on the backside could stay a little bit higher too, right? He's not going to get the ball either. He's not going to be a part of this. I've been around some teams where they bring him in here like he's part of it, okay? I would never want our quarterback working all the way back there. Never. Not in a million years. I want our quarterback working 1 to 2 right here. That's simple, okay? And it's pretty easy. Now, I think this is a good job by the quarterback initially. It's 3 steps, hiding that ball in his hip, showing the defense the ball coming off the fake. You can see his eyes immediately off the fake. Check for his problem. There's no problem. Okay, so we talked about this before. Number 2, don't have a problem? I better start attacking the line of scrimmage, which he's doing. All right? Now, don't love the throw. Obviously, I think he could have kept attacking the line of scrimmage. I think he caused himself a little bit of a problem here. Also, if I could just change one thing right here, I would love for our over route to get a little bit more depth. He's running this about 8 yards. You'd love it 10 to 12. But at the end of the day, what I love more than his depth is when we talk about being in phase, he's in phase with this quarterback. He's even to in front of him. It's a nice, easy, natural throw for the quarterback, okay, that we can't make. And I promise I got some clips on here where we make it. I do think it's worth noting, right? Like, one of my least favorite things in clinics is people put on a bunch of plays that look great, right? Because they get to make the tape. And it's like, there are no bad plays. Look, you can do everything right. You can have everything dialed up exactly right. I think the lesson here is football is ultimately going to come down to execution, right? And that's what we need to be doing a better job of, coaches, is trying to get that execution out of guys, not scheme plays up. This is simple, okay, junior high football, and we got an opportunity for a pretty decent play here. Okay, at worst, it's probably going to be about 13 yards. At best, it might be an explosive, right? But we can't pitch and catch and do simple things. And that ultimately is going to be what gets you beat. Right, but I thought it's a pretty good picture of the spacing. Take a look at it from behind. Get a better look at the quarterback's action. Get a better look at the release of the tight end. Critical for the tight end to block the play called, right? Because if he doesn't, then my man 40 smells a rat back here, and all of a sudden the quarterback has a problem. All right, so just do his job of blocking the play called. All right, come out of this thing. If 84 had gotten out any earlier right here, yeah, he'd be out in front of the quarterback. He probably would have got the same draw on one. He would have opened up the over route. It would have been all good. But my man 40 might have been an issue for the quarterback. So I think this is a pretty good picture, everything we're looking for. And this is a pretty good picture other than this sloppy post who should be running way higher right here. Okay, these two guys are irrelevant. This is the picture we're looking for every time. Every time. Okay, 1 to 2, here we go. Can't make the play. Next picture. Same play, all right? Same play, totally different formation, totally different personnel group. So let's just review the bidding. If we had run the exact same play that we ran before, right? This guy would clear it out. This guy would run the slam flat. This guy would have the over, and there would our sloppy post be, okay? If we want to run it back to the field right here, which is what we do, there's our slam flat, okay? There's our clear out. He's just going to run a mandatory outside release. He's outside. Okay, he doesn't need to run the flag or anything like that. He just needs to practice running with an outside release. Here's our over route. There's our sloppy post route. See how we did. Okay. Really good picture of the over. We talked about the release up here, right? Finding a way through. Okay, I'm not worried about building depth right away. I'm worried, his only concern at this moment as he releases through this trash, okay, is to get in phase with this quarterback. That is his only concern. So right now he has about 3 yards of depth initially on his route. But you can see once he gets in phase, once he gets at width, he immediately starts building his depth. Okay, and he ends up catching the ball at about 12 yards. Okay, at about 12 yards, and it's going to turn into a lot bigger play than that here in a second. If you're critiquing the slam flat right here, I'm not sure he's not a hair early, honestly, okay? But I would also tell you this, in a perfect world, he would love to release underneath this contained flat defender right here. Okay, he's causing a traffic jam that we don't need. But as crowded as this looks right now, and this is an interesting play, because if you look at it, the quarterback's coming off the fake, right? Here is our over and our flat. And right now, the relationship between those three guys, I don't know how to describe it, but it's not good. But if we understand the play, and that's where you'd like to see this flat player come underneath this guy, try to create a little bit more separation, although he does understand what he did wrong, starts trying to stay on the line of scrimmage. But now we have a good relationship. We got a good play. Okay? Just talking about the releases, we got our mandatory outside release out here. He's practicing running, does a good job of feeling what's happening. And, you know, our guys run this play so much, they start to understand the timing of this thing a little bit. And we do a pretty good job collecting these guys downfield instead of just running by them and giving the receiver a chance to run with the ball a little bit. Okay? That's a fullback practicing running up there. He's not practicing it very fast. Okay, so, you know, you prefer that to be just a little bit more of a threat to this post safety, but it's certainly enough. Okay, and we got what we want. There's a couple of things I want to note when we see this from behind. All right, number one is when we do run this play, okay, where we're running this at a closed edge, we're asking a tight end to run this over route. Okay, our tackle will automatically pull. All right, so, whether we're faking the slant, which we are here, or faking the inside zone, if there's a tight end releasing on the front side, our tackle knows to get depth, pull, because he's got to allow this guy to get an inside release, and we don't want to cause a traffic jam. All right, otherwise, we're just blocking the run called. That's all we're doing and leveraging it late for the boot. But we want to be aggressive. Another note on this protection, okay, that I think gets glossed over a lot of times. I was on the defensive side of the ball for a year. We called nakeds elephants on parade. That's what we called nakeds, because our whole defense, no matter what coverage we were in, we were a post-safety team, but our whole defense was predicated on these players right here, recognizing the naked and looking up over routes. So the job of the line right here is to sell the run. So we don't want to be soft, and unfortunately, when we pull the front side, we have to get a little softer, okay? But we need to have our pads down. We need to be running. We can't just turn and run sideways. We have to be attacking these guys the way we would on any slant play so that these guys feel the run. The reason this play works right here is you see 28 and 42 playing our slant game. Okay? Everybody's playing it. Number 9, who should be containing the quarterback, he's got his eyes in the backfield. And this is a nice job by the quarterback on the play fake. It's a really nice job. You see him switch the ball right there to his hip, stick that hand in there, pocket it, look him away, and then come out of this thing digging. Watch his eyes when he comes out of this thing, immediately looking at his problem. Okay? He doesn't have one. So now he's reading this 1 to 2. Here we go. Right? This is just simple, good football, but a lot of really good fundamental things going on here, other than this guy ruining the play by going over the top of him, but we're able to overcome it. Now, it's a good picture of the quarterback attacking his target. Okay? And we saw in that Penn State picture when we missed the over, we fell away on our throw a little bit. You can see him actually, look, I don't know much about throwing the football, but I did hear one person talk about when it's good, everything should look in sequence. And I got to tell you, I watch him throw this ball, and his body's in sequence. All right? He looks like me playing Babe Ruth baseball, okay, coming across my body, making a great play at third base, right, on that ground ball coming down the line, then resetting myself, coming across and getting that thing to first base. And really, at the end of the day, to me, that's what it should look like. Keep attacking, right? Keep attacking that target, follow through, just nice and smooth. Bad at the end, bad ball security, but if you're going to fumble, that's a good place to do it. I mean, we need to talk to this bench. We are not excited enough about a good play. And here's some other this is one of our assistant defensive coordinator right here. I don't know how you guys are. That's classic defensive guys, like just not impressed with anything the offense is doing. Okay, simple play. It's a 22-yard gain on a junior high play. Talk about why. The explosive factor right there. Complements the run game. Okay, same game, same exact naked, different formation. Right? But we're running the same play. This one, I don't know if I love our spacing as much. Right? I don't mind the slam flat. I think he's doing his job. Now, this is a good picture of the detached guy. He wants him to believe that he's cutting him off. Okay, then he's coming out of this thing. Key coaching point for a detached receiver running this slam flat. Don't get close enough to actually block the guy because he can grab you. Really simple. All right, make him believe that you're going to reach him and then come out of this thing. All right, dig for the sidelines. It's a nice job by him. Our over route never gets in phase. Okay, and I'm not a brainiac, but I got a simple solution for this. Do what the other guy did. Come underneath this. Think more about getting in phase. Think more about speed than building depth. He's building depth right now. Before he gets across the field, he's never going to get in phase. And he never does. You can see our quarterback right in the middle of the field, right in the middle of this N. N for knowledge, right in the middle of the field. Okay? Our backside over route. He's got plenty of depth. He's at 10 yards, but he's not in phase. There's the middle of the field. He's probably 4 yards behind the quarterback. It's never going to work out. Now, here's the good news for us. They got everybody. This guy, this little hook defender turns, digs. He's looking up the over route. Okay, they defended everybody we want to throw to. That's what we were talking about when we were on the board. Everyone that we want to throw to, despite how our routes are on the backside, okay, everybody's covered. There's still an answer. You tell me, if we pause it right here, who's going to tackle the quarterback before he makes This guy's not the fastest dude in the world, so probably before he makes 6 yards, let's say. All right, so there's the line of scrimmage. It's the 40. Okay, you're telling me if he tucks this thing down, we can at least get to the 38 and make 2 yards. We'll probably do a lot better than that. Okay, but you can't be afraid to run the ball. If it's covered up, run the football. How's that for coaching? Really, really genius stuff. Don't just throw it away. We have no chance. This is a good picture of the action, though. All right, another good fake. Real, like whether you're running a route, whether you're blocking, anything you're doing on the football field, your eyes are going to be involved. Okay, and it's subconscious. We don't all know that. We don't all understand that all the time. All right, but I'm telling you, part of what he's seeing right here, he's closing this fake. Part of what he's seeing are the quarterback's eyes selling the run fake. Quarterback's watching that guy with the ball like he gave it to him. Okay, he can't see the ball, but he can see his body and his eyes and his demeanor, and everything about the quarterback's demeanor right there is telling him that he gave this ball. Right? He can't see the tight end releasing. He can't see this guy. He can't see any of that, but he can see the quarterback. Okay? This picture right here is why we don't love this play in the shotgun, because we can't do this to this defender in the shotgun the way we can do it under center. Right? Once I turn my back to that guy, that's all sleight of hand. This is all David Copperfield, like we're at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. Right? And I can do a lot of sleight of hand with my body, my eyes, and all my demeanor with my body, my eyes, and all my demeanor. But if I'm in the shotgun, all right, and just imagine this camera right here is that defender, okay, and I'm the quarterback, and I'm meshing with somebody right here, okay, it's a lot harder to create sleight of hand when he can see everything that's going on. Right? It'd be like any magician, the minute there's boxes, doors, they start hiding from you, okay, it's so that they can manipulate it. Right? Well, if the magician didn't have his curtain, his doors, any of that, which is what happens when you put a mesh in the gun, then you're not going to fool this guy hardly ever. If I could turn my back to him, you're still that defender, right? And now all you can see are my hands, okay, my head, my eyes, my body, my demeanor. A lot easier to pull the wool over your eyes. Okay, so this is why we don't love this play out of the gun. It doesn't mean we don't run it. Right? I don't know if, I should know better. I don't even know if I put any clips of that on here. All right, we'll see. Okay, last picture right here of just a base naked. We're running the same play. Okay, here's our over route. Here's our flat ball. There's our clear out. Okay, biggest difference here. Now we're showing the defense a counter. Okay, so here's our little counter action. This is a play we run, obviously. Okay, one thing about the counter action, it helps us release against 9 techniques because our tight ends rule changes on the backside of counter as opposed to some of the zone game, right? We're not selling that zone anymore, okay? He's playing the backside of a gap scheme, right? Gap seal funnel. Now we can collision this 97 right here, this DN, right? And again, it's just a way to help us get out and take the problem off the quarterback. It's a nice job by the quarterback right here. Okay, again, this is even more, once you introduce this ball handling, right, now there's even more magic going on behind the scenes, right? We've really put the curtain in front of the audience. 97. And we've got a body in his face. All right, so this is as good as it gets. Even this guy, right? They're playing some kind of post safety, man or zone here. Okay, it's probably a combination of both. All right, but he loses eyes. Then he starts looking up the crossing route. And I don't know who's supposed to have the flat, but they don't. Right? And I know this. I'm just a dumb line coach, so it's a lot easier for me to confuse the defense than try to outsmart them. All right, let's just get them confused. Let's get their responsibilities all screwed up. And really, they're not covering either of these guys particularly well. I think they probably want to maybe reevaluate their coverage rules. Maybe not. They held us to 3 points. They beat us. So, okay, I don't know how smart we are. But this is a great picture right now. The flat's out late, but he gets back into phase with the quarterback, and he has no depth right here. He's running this thing maybe 1 yard, maybe at 1. I think this is a hell of a job by the over trying to get in phase. We're giving up a little bit of depth, but he's coming from a long way. It's a good job by our clear out here, turning this guy's back to the play. All right, and now we've given the ball to one of our best players on offense on the line of scrimmage with a lot of green grass. And this is a hell of a picture. This is winning football, in my opinion, not this day. Okay, but this is what you need. You need unselfish players like our ex-receiver who's running this over, coming back, stealing a block, allowing the tight end to come back inside of this. Okay. Turn it into a nice, 12, 15-yard play, put us down in the red area. Take a look at this from behind. You can see all this ball handling going on. It's pretty good. There's a lot for the defense to look at right there. I don't have much science for it, other than now we got a puller on the backside. Okay. We got the fullback coming from the backside to the front side in the counter. We got the quarterback showing the ball to the defense like he would on the counter, then taking it away, turning his back to him. Just take a look at all these guys' eyes. That's what we're talking about when we're saying option the defense, protect the run game, right? Okay, they start getting over aggressive. But the reason this naked right here is so good, if that makes sense. They want to start committing guys in there. They want to start stealing coverage players to get into the box. If you're any good at running the football, you better be good at this. Okay, last couple of things here. All right, just talking about the naked game. Look, the ability to bring the flat route from across the ball, I think, is really important. It's a nice thing to do against man coverage. Again, it's just a little bit more sleight of hand. Now, this isn't a great picture of the whole concept, especially down the low red area. Okay, but now we're bringing the flat from across the ball. We call this slide. Okay, we're bringing the flat from across the ball. The over route still coming from across the ball. We're in a two-back action just like that counter, so there is no sloppy post. Okay, and right here, now, where this is a little different, there's our flat, there's our over, we still need the clear component. So this guy's actually doing it from in line. His job is to push into the end zone here and go to the flag and clear this thing out. He's not trying to get open, he's just trying to clear this out from 1 to 2. This is a nice job. Now, there's a lot of conversation about these slides, about bringing a guy from across. We had a coach here, we used to argue about this all the time, going across this guy's face versus slipping him, right? And he wanted to go across this guy's face all the time because he felt like that protected the quarterback. And I think there's a lot of merit to that, all right? The problem with that is that this guy is the first read for the quarterback. If the quarterback has a problem, he's got to get this guy the ball, okay? So when you go across his face, you may slow him down and protect the quarterback, but you cover yourself. All right, so in a perfect world, I would actually rather he went over the top of this guy and got out a little bit faster. But what we've settled on here, instead of trying to overcoach it, most important thing that he understands is that he is the first guy in the read. He's got to get to the flat. How you do it, go over, go under, I don't really get out there. Get out there. And that's a good picture of this right here. Okay? He actually goes underneath the guy or in front of him, but he gets by him, he gets clean, okay, and he's wide open in the flat, and it's a good thing he is, because you can see the quarterback right here coming off this fake. And I don't love our fake right here. We're a little bit compressed. It starts with the fact, okay, that I think we're a little bit tight, about 7 yards, and our fullback's in there, and everything's tight. There's a lot of traffic in here. But this is a hell of a job by the quarterback coming off the fake. You can see him right there looking for his problem. He's got a problem. And all he's trying to do now is find a platform to get that ball to the flat. All right? He's not attacking the line of scrimmage. He's not doing any things we talked about earlier. He's trying to find a way to get the ball over his problem to the only guy that he has available. We're not reading this anymore. It's not 1 to 2. There's no run. The minute he sees this guy up the field, he knows the ball's got to get out of his hand. It's a good job by both guys, and it's kind of like stealing there. All right, just kind of move ahead here. I want to make sure I show a couple more. So now we're in the gun. I did put one on here. So we're putting this little smoke action on this thing. We call it a smoke. We're showing them like a jet sweep. All right, what this is really about, it's two things. We gain two things right here. We're obviously catching them between coverages. They're trying to rotate their coverage, so it's helpful there. But remember, I talked about that window dressing for the backside end. Okay? Instead of just letting him look at the mesh, now we're putting somebody in front of him. All right, we're putting somebody in front of him. So this is what we call double blinders, where we're sliding and we get the guy coming across. And it doesn't really matter. It's just a really fancy way to try to slow this guy down and confuse him. All right, now, it's another good picture of the quarterback, and this is another problem with this play. Now, it's harder for the quarterback to attack the line of scrimmage out of the gun. You get a good picture of that too. He's got to gain depth and then come back on it. It's just not as natural. It's just not in that sequence that we like. Okay, but this is a really good picture of him finding his problem. And right now the quarterback's not looking at the over route, and it's a good thing he's not, because this guy's busting. This guy should be in a tight split, running the over route. He doesn't know what he's doing. All right, so it's a good thing he's not looking for that over route, because that is not getting in phase. There is no chance. Right? But the quarterback has his eyes on his problem. He sees his problem, and all he's doing is finding a way to dump this ball to the flat player right now. Okay? And we're in business because we got him out leveraged. Cheap yards. Really cheap yards, which is all we're looking for. It's a good picture of this from behind, the quarterback's eyes. He knows right now, coming off this fake, the quarterback knows. Because this guy is square, he's flat, he's slow playing this, his eyes are on the quarterback, they probably made eye contact, and the quarterback knows, I am getting the ball to the flat as soon as I can. And he does a good job of it. He fooled the camera guy too. All right, another picture of a slide. This is the same one that we saw earlier. Really, conceptually, it's about the same in the Maryland game in the low red area. This is an interesting picture right here, okay? Quarterback comes off the fake. He sees his problem. Watch the quarterback right here. He knows he's got a problem. And right now, he's thinking about delivering this ball to the flat. And you can see him right here start to actually open his hips, lean back, and he's getting ready to float the ball to the flat. And then he sees his problem take the flat. This is probably not how we draw it up. Okay, this is some elevated, advanced stuff here. And then the quarterback does a really nice job right here, resetting his feet, okay, attacking the line of scrimmage again, and then floating this ball, layering the throw over this guy right here to our over route for another big gain. We got to step out of this tackle and score, but okay, not bad. Really not bad. Okay, the only problem here is still manageable. We're only down 14-0 right now. Gets worse. Really nice picture of the quarterback. Watch him. I got to get the ball to the flat. He finds him. He's getting ready to find a nice little float throw. Sees 32 drops. Says, all right, I'll just start attacking. Sees his over route coming. Continuing to build that depth, getting in phase. He's able to layer the ball over that defender, and here we go. Okay. Last thing here that I'll show you guys before we finish are load nakeds, right? So I talked about putting that comeback on the outside and changing things up. So here we're doing it from across the ball, okay? But all this fullback is doing is loading the backside. All right, he's loading the C gap. He's trying to buy time for the quarterback, right? Because we know this comeback that we're going to run 18, 20 yards, it's going to take a little bit longer to develop. Okay, so we're loading this thing, but we still have the flat and we still have the over coming. The difference now is instead of this guy clearing out, he's going to run a comeback, a naked comeback, 18 to 20 yards. And the quarterback, pre-snap, has to make a decision. Okay, this is a great picture of, to me, this play not being run properly by us. The quarterback pre-snap, anytime we alert a comeback out there, he's got to decide before he snaps the ball if he's going to think about throwing this thing, right? Because if he doesn't like it, he should just play 1 to 2 like he did before. But if he's going to throw this thing, then he has to be looking at it all the way. Once he sees his problem, he's good. You can see his eyes aren't on that. This ball off this fake, I don't know, 5 steps probably. This ball should be out right now. Okay, any comeback, I don't care if it's drop back or play action, any comeback needs to be thrown before the receiver's in his break. Okay? Any comeback better be a third of the way there as this guy's coming out of his break. All right, we're J-turn. I don't even want to get into how we're running this route, not even important. Any way you run a comeback, okay? If the ball is going to be completed, it needs to be a third of the way to the receiver before his eyes come out of this break. We don't throw this ball until he's completed his break, okay? And we do a good job coming back to the ball, and you know, all this is good. But I'm just telling you, that's a lot of work, in my opinion, for like a 10-yard game. Okay, we should be hitting this receiver. He should be catching this ball right now at about 16 yards. Right now at about 16 yards. So the concept is good. You can understand what we're trying to do. We will not throw this comeback unless we protect the quarterback and try to eliminate his problem. Right? We will not do that because if he decides pre-snap that he's going to throw the comeback, it's going to be really hard for him to change his mentality as he comes off of that and then start thinking about the flat to protect himself. Right? So it's a good picture of the concept, not necessarily a great picture of the execution. All right, last couple clips right here. Probably end with this one. So now we're going to run a load naked. This shift looks pretty good because it's messed up. That's why it looks so crazy. All right, so we're loading this naked up, and now we're sliding him through. Okay, so this guy's loading it, and he's loading the C gap. So we clearly have a problem right here. Here's our over route. Okay, here's our slide route. So we've got the flat here. We've got the over route here. We've loaded this, so this guy now is not clearing out. He's running to win. If he was detached, he has that comeback you just saw us run. Now, we've got him in a nasty split. So he has what we would call a circus route, okay, which is a 12-yard route, okay, an 8-step route that's going to break based on leverage of the defender. So if this defender stays on top of him, he's going to speed out of it underneath. If he gets on top of the defender, he's going to keep it high to the flag. But the difference now is our quarterback is alerted that pre-snap, if he likes this, he can think about throwing it, okay? And I think that's a decent route, okay, by 6. He's running this to win. Obviously, he's covered, okay? But you can see our quarterback's mentality change a little bit right here as he comes out of this thing. Now, we still have a problem. Well, Brian, you just told me if you load it, you're trying to eliminate the problem. Okay, absolutely, we're trying to eliminate the problem. But here's what we don't want to do on a load. When he loads, he has the C gap. That is what he has. Because if he tries to load a player who's in a wide 9 right here, forcing this ball, okay, all he's going to do is get in the quarterback's way. We know to have a completion when the quarterback is on the move, he needs to be attacking the line of scrimmage, working downhill. We start trying to reach this guy over here or do anything on the play side of this, he's going to start losing ground. He's going to cut the quarterback off. I don't care if you're sprinting, nakeding, whatever you're doing. If the quarterback can't attack the line of scrimmage, it's going to be a bad play. It's going to be a bad play. So his rule is very simple. He's loading the C gap. Quarterback's got to understand, if we have a 9 technique, if we have a force player outside, you might get pulled up on this thing. So I think it's a pretty good job by him. You can actually see him looking to the circus route, but then when he sees this problem, he changes his whole mentality, starts fading away, finding a way to get this ball over the defender to the flat, right? And we're in business. And we got a good football play. All right, so that play to me encompasses everything we just talked about, right? We want to protect the run game. Easy money, right? Easy money, and then the opportunity for an explosive. All right, so we had the opportunity for the explosive on the circus. We don't get it. Okay, we're protecting the run game because now this is a little bit later in the game. We've run a couple of these in this game. Okay, and you see that 32 staying home, getting up the field. All right, so now we're protecting the run game. We're getting what we want out of it. And despite all that, we still get the easy money to the flat ball for 11 yards. All right, so that's all we're trying to do with the naked game. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, anything you need, please reach out by email. I'll be happy to discuss this further. But wish all you guys the best and appreciate Nike having me.